According to Rudolph's Insight, this is a newspaper editorial purporting that over 6 million Biafrans lost their lives during the Biafran War. Is this a hoax? Is this true or false? Now, if this editorial was accurate in the number of people that lost their lives being over 6 million, the simple question is, where are the massive graves? Now, to put it in a better perspective, the current population of the Igbos from their 5 eastern states, according to the last census, is approximately 18.3 million in total, with Ebonyi being 2.1 million, Anambra 4.1 million, Abia 4.1 million, Imo 4.9 million, and Enugu 3.2 million. So yeah, 18.4 million approximately. So the Igbos mean to tell us that they lost approximately about 40% of their current population today during the Biafran War. Like, how is that even possible? Perhaps, maybe most of you don't understand. So let me further break it down. In the year 1960, Nigeria had a population of 45 million people, picture above, and at no point in time has the Igbos ever been a majority in Nigeria. It has always been Hausa, Yoruba, and even Ijaws. These guys inflate their number too much to make themselves feel big, but that's not even what we are here for. So, if Nigeria's population around 1960 was approximately 45 million, and today Nigeria is over 240 million people, it only means Nigeria has doubled 5 times its population from 1960. And going by that logic, we would assume the Igbos also doubled 5 times their population of 1960. So, if Igbo's population today is 18.4 million, which is approximately 5 times their number from 1960, how many Igbos were there in 1960? Well, the answer is simple. 3.7 million Igbos in 1960. That was their population. And mind you, the war hasn't even started in 1960. So you claim you lost over 6 million people. Meanwhile, your population around 1960, when the war hasn't even started, was barely less than 3.7 million. Even if we were to add the whole of old southeastern region, which South was also a part of them, the number would still be around 7 to 8 million people who were alive around 1960 in the old southeastern region. And that will suggest that more than 90% of the people from the old southeastern region were unalived in that war. The math is not just mathing. Now, my question is, where are the massive graves to suggest you lost over 90% of your population? What happened to the bodies? Were they eating? I'm not suggesting anything, no. It's just a harmless question. Although, we have seen reports that suggest that a lot of cannibalism goes on around the southeast. Allegedly, allegedly. Well, that brings us to the topic of today. The tyranny and the atrocious acts of the Biafran soldiers during the Biafran War and the quest for Igbo expansion. Now, having asserted that it couldn't have been possible for the Igbos to have lost 6 million people during that war, however, a lot of people, may their souls rest in peace, lost their lives in that war. And over 70 to 80% of those that lost their lives in that war was from today's South region. You see, the Igbos knew they never had the capacity or numbers to go into that war alone. And being at the top military positions and in charge of arsenals and weapons of Nigeria, because let's not forget, they were at the top of the food chain when Nigeria first got its independence. And being at the helm of affairs, it availed them the advantage of having those military arsenals and weaponry. So what did they do with this power? They forced the minority ethnic groups in today's South into that war. A lot of youth from Ibibio, from Ika, from Efik, from Ikwerre, Ijaws, etc. were forced into that war.
How do you happen to be in uniform?
I was forced to join the Ojukwu soldiers.
Oh, you are forced to find Ojukwu soldiers?
Yes, sir.
Who forced you?
Ojukwu rebel soldiers forced me to join them when I returned from Lagos.
You returned from Lagos?
Yes, sir.
To go where? To go Ogoja?
When I returned from Lagos to my home.
Oh, to your home?
Yes, sir, to escort my wife.
To escort your wife from where?
From Lagos to...
Oh, yes. You escort your wife from Lagos to Ogoja?
Ogoja. So I was forced to join the army. So far we have been demanded for our state. And they suspect me that as I returned from Lagos, I may carry anything back to Lagos again because I was...
Why? Because the Igbos alone never had that number. Even till this day. When that war, however, was ongoing, what did the Biafran soldier do? So, apparently, they forced the youths and men into that war and stayed back to claim their lands and properties. Take for instance the Ikwerre people, because That is where I am from. So I'll be using that as a case study. The soldiers came into Ikwerre land, forced the men into the Biafran army, and they stayed back and started claiming the properties of the men they forced into war. Did they stop at that? Quite on the contrary, they also proceeded into renaming the towns in Ikwerre land, specifically the area today known as Port Harcourt Metropolis, which comprised of mainly Obiakpo, Port Harcourt City LGA, and even some parts of Ikwerre LGA. They targeted these places and started renaming the towns to Umudis and Umudats, while claiming lands and properties, and genociding the men of these places by forcing them into the Biafran war. You would think that was enough, but nah, it didn't stop at that. They proceeded to raping the women whose men were not there to defend them, and the few men who were left behind in Ikwerre land, most were buried alive by the Biafran soldiers. So, at the end of the day, they report that over 6 million Biafrans were unalived in that war. And you feel pity, really? The minority ethnic groups of Ika, Ikwerre, Ibibio, Efik, etc. were the ones who lost their lives in that war, not the Igbos. So when the war ended, we over here in Ikwerre land had to undo everything that was done by the Biafran soldiers, starting with renaming of our towns to Rumo and Omo, because the southern Ikwerre call children Rumo and the northern Ikwerres call children Omo or Omo. The reason why when you come to Port Harcourt today, you see a lot of places named Rumo. We also had to take back the properties stolen by the Biafran soldiers and land stolen back from the Igbos. And lastly, we had to mass deport all the Igbos in Rivers State back to the southeast. We never wanted to let them back in, if not for federal government's intervention. The end of a long reign of tyranny by the Igbo Biafrans was finally over.
Take over their jobs have not yet acquired the necessary skills. Outside the docks, I asked some rivers men what they thought of the Igbos.
Igbos, though we are all one Nigeria, but they misbehave themselves, and we feel at the moment, at this time, they should remain in their East Central state.
You don't think there is a place for them to work down here now?
At the moment, I don't think so.
Do you think it will come in the future?
That future can tell.
But not now?
Not now.
Do well to support the page by giving us a follow, liking, posting, reposting, and tagging your favorite people to this page.